That's a very funny take on what's going on with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, go hard and go early. If you're being good, see, we're fucked because we're kind of good.
Yeah,
and we'll probably misstep in like 5 years or 12 years. And like, see, when they said they didn't want to talk about cancel culture, what do you think now that you're being crypto canceled, which is a new form of cancellation, whereas before they could just stop you from getting shows on Netflix. Now they can cancel your crypto, and they got crypto canceled by the Crypt Mob and Generation Alpha, and even Gen Z thinks they're lame, and Gen Z is like 40 years old now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mind Under Matter. Man, Ramin always is the quick draw. This time he made a conscious decision ahead of time. I'm gonna stall. I'm gonna have Shane start it. This is another. We try to do once a month a fun mailbag episode where we post topic suggestions on Patreon and people guide the ship a little bit. And so we don't know how many we're going to get to. Sometimes a whole episode is one of the topics suggested. Sometimes we do a whole miscellaneous grab bag. I know that we're going to do at least 2, if not more. We're going to start with the bulk of this episode being about music because we liked the suggestion. But first, we have from one of our Patreon supporters, Michael Bridges, who I think I called Mitchell we make whole episodes for Patreon supporters. If you're on there, you get a Mind Under Art, you suggest a piece of Ramin's. We make a whole episode just for you. And in this episode that he got just for him, I called him Mitchell instead of Michael, which happens. And Michael Bridges, he wanted to, and he came to a game night once, came to meet Delic when I was there. Cool guy. He does works with light signs and also is a DJ. So anyway, he suggested, we're actually going to skip over this and maybe make it a full episode sometime to talk about cancel culture. And the reason why we don't talk about cancel culture on this show is because it's not a topic that interests us that much, although it is interesting, but it's also just comedy podcasts are kind of inundated with the topic, right? I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. Bill Burr destroys
cancel culture. Listen to Louis C.K.'s take on cancel culture before he was canceled. Shane Gillis on cancel culture. It's like you're collecting everybody's take of it, but I get it. It is super juicy because there's something about in the tribe, like one person in the tribe is being singled out and being told to leave the tribe or perhaps sit in the corner of the tribe or whatever.
That's
minor punishment to major punishment. But then when it starts to be about, what did you think of the latest tribe circle point out person thing? It's been said already. And that sounds like a political answer, but I feel like I would have to do it on a case by case basis. I'm like, who are you talking about? And what level of punishment are you saying they should have gotten or should not have gotten? Because it just gets so granular.
Yeah. If you really want to ruin someone, in so many cases, you could just ignore them. Like, if there was a way to communicate in a way and be like, hey, should we all just ignore this person? If people could do that, that would ruin people. Instead, it's like, can you believe this person? And like, so many people that get enriched from that and everything else, and it perpetuates the conversation, blah, blah, blah. We'll do a whole episode of it sometime. The reason I brought up the suggestion because there's a fun story he brought up. He said he saw that on my Instagram, a thing about canceled priests. And that's what that's why I came up with the idea of suggesting it. So I was in La Crosse, Wisconsin. This billboard's no longer there. I drove by this billboard and I was like, oh, what now? And it was so peculiar that I was like, I think I'm going to double back. I think I'm going to turn around, go way out of my way, and go back on this highway to see this this billboard. And it was maybe I'll message this to McCool so he can insert it for people on YouTube. But it just said, "Not one more penny until you reinstate our priests." And
those aren't the priests, are they?
Well, first of all, look at this. Look at the middle guy is not who you lead with.
Okay, now that's a face. Let's see. Looks like Craig Ferguson. Let's zoom in. Oh, it just looks like a really sinister guy.
Right in the middle.
Who it is.
They led with the most sinister looking person.
It looks like Michael Keaton doing his like really crazy Michael Keaton face, but without the charm behind it.
It is what that looks like. It's like someone auditioning for a new weird like aged Joker mobster type. It's like a combination of a lot of bad things, and they put his face right in the center. It's like, man, Catholicism they need a better PR department than they have. And it's just like, well, what if you, like, the person taking the picture is like, can you smile bigger for this creepy? I know you guys are kind of bogged down with a number of horrifying accusations that have come to light over the past several decades and a number of provable cover-ups. But can you just smile a little creepier? We'll stick you right in the center.
Each one looks like a different archetype on To Catch a Predator.
It is
like there's 5 different types of dude there, and they all fit into that category. It's the zodiac sign of them, and they might not have even. I don't know if they're canceled for the child molestation things. They might have been canceled for I don't know, saying a word or for hosting a gathering during lockdown, or what did they get canceled for?
So first of all, you go www.canceledpriest.org, and I'm like, do I go there? Do I go to that site? I'm like, why did I already turn around? I already did this. Now I'm invested. I better go to this site. Is this a trap? It was such a peculiar sign. And so I go to canceledpriests.org. Front page.
Hi, there in Chicago. Mel here.
Mel Gibson video. 7 minute rant. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I did this. And I pressed play. And like, I've had times speaking of like cancel culture and stuff, I've had times since the whole Mel Gibson thing. Like, I remember seeing I lived in Malibu. I saw Mel Gibson at a Ralph's grocery store on like Thanksgiving Day or something, like running around frantically and like looking like a lunatic. But there's been times where, he'll release a new movie and I'm like, do I watch that? And sometimes I'm even like, maybe he just had a rough like few goes at things, and maybe he got help now. Maybe he had some. Yeah, I've had plenty of alcohol problems. Who knows what happened? Is it
his anti-vaxxers are the Jews?
Yeah. I'm like, maybe it's time to see what Mel's up to. Maybe he's turned it all around and he's back on the sane train, and he's not. He's a insane person, and it's a lot of it was basically him constructing like crazy Da Vinci Code ideas of like, I think what it is he was saying, or at least under the impression that there's like a certain orthodoxy that some priests are trying to preach that the modern Catholic Church does not agree with, or something like that. Oh,
they're canceled by the Catholic Church.
Something like that, yeah. And so it's a lot of like, and who's canceling them? These bishops? Well, who's electing these bishops? Well, when I worked on the Passion of the Christ, I met some of these bishops, and you know what I thought of them? It's this insane video that I recommend everyone watch, and then be like, oh wow, Mel Gibson is actually insane. And he made this whole video for this organization, which he probably assumed no one was ever going to see and was never going to like become public in any way. And then I found it just through sheer happenstance. And I think it's incredible.
He got, how long is it? Because I am going to watch this.
Do you want to take a break and watch it? You can. Can we just play it? Can we play it? No, we can't do that. Because I don't know how things work. I don't know if we have copyright infringement or something.
But I wanted to just comment that he almost, it was to his advantage that he was yelling about the blacks or the Jews or women or whatever I just remember the Jews one. I'm just throwing the other ones in there in case. Yeah. Maybe he didn't. So just slander. I'm protected against slander because what I'm saying is not English. Everything I've said is a random combinations of sound
as
that
your
coincidentally
lawyer,
sounds like
all
statements.
Of this is legal.
Yes, but the it's like people wrote him off in 2003. Yeah. So he wasn't like brought up, and then he's not disappointing anyone right now. He's like seen as George Bush or something. George Bush disappointed people so much that now it's like, oh, he's the cute old man that paints. And like, I miss Bush. That was better than Trump. Bush was just so much better. And now he paints, and just like you're grandfathered into this class of okay people. Whereas like people hate J.K. Rowling probably more than Mel Gibson.
That's a very funny take on what's going on with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, go hard and go early. If you're being good, see, we're fucked because we're kind of good. Yeah, and we'll probably misstep in like 5 years or 12 years. And like, see, when they said they didn't want to talk about cancel culture, what do you think now that you're being crypto canceled, which is a new form of cancellation, whereas before they could just stop you from getting shows on Netflix. Now they can cancel your crypto, and they got crypto canceled by the crypt mob and Generation Alpha, and even Gen Z thinks they're lame, and Gen Z is like 40 years old now. But
oh man, I can't wait to get crypto canceled. That's amazing. Yeah. But Mel's off the deep end. I mean, if you want to take a break and watch this quick and give me, I don't mind. McCool doesn't mind editing it. Do you want to do it?
Let's put it on here. Canceledpriest.org.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let us pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. But just know and give thanks to God for Mel Gibson.
The Coalition for Canceled Priests. I mean.
And we're back. And I've seen the video, and whoo boy, I don't want to make a whole episode about this one or anything, but we, first thing, I think no one's heard of this because in order to get to it, you have to go to a website and then scroll down and then read a thing and click on a link to a video. And the video, I think, isn't even housed on YouTube or anything. It's its own video.
Like embedded into the website
so who's ever
itself.
going to discover it? You've already gone 8 steps deep in it. But throughout most of it, at first, you can't stop looking at his blue eyes. They're so blue. And we haven't seen Mel Gibson in so long. So it's like, oh, yeah, Lethal Weapon, Braveheart, Mel Gibson, starring Mel Gibson. And his voice is so like booming and like professional, but a lot of the stuff I don't know what he's referring to, and as he's describing it, he's never specific. It always is boiling down to like,
what are they up to?
A group of bad people that are bad are here to take down what I find to be the most honorable people of all time. Now, has this happened before? Sure, but now it's happening here. And now, how do you judge the good people from the bad? Well, you shall judge them by their fruit. You seen any good fruit lately?
It's wild. Like that someone contacted him and he is just like, yeah, and I know just what to say. And then he just went on this 7-minute. It's incredible. I love it.
My favorite part, though, is the finale, because it's however long. What did you say? 7 minutes?
Yeah.
Of a complete rant with no, almost, because he's a professional actor, and like he's just good at like telling a riveting story in case you're just there the whole time.
It is kind of riveting.
Yeah, and you're seeing the worry in his voice, and then like he's describing how basically all of everything that is good is falling apart, and chaos is taking his place. But he ends it with, but of course, the gates of hell cannot prevail. The victory is God's, not ours. All is the devil cannot win. God wins. So it's all good. And it only can with us in our hearts. But I love that no matter how afraid you are, in order to have the ultimate faith, you have to say, but of course, you know, Satan can never beat God. Duh. But it's not cool to let him get this close, though. You shouldn't let him get this close to winning. He could never win. It's the devil. The devil can't beat God. God is pure love, light, is one, is the only, and you are in him, and gave his only son, and all this. But you shouldn't let him get close to winning.
We shouldn't let them get close. It's our job to not let them do the impossible, which of course they won't do because that's impossible.
Yeah.
I was just, it's just like, I'm always overjoyed when something like that happens. Pay attention to like a good, if you see a billboard and you're like, that's peculiar, look into it. I'll call. Sometimes I'll just call a billboard number. Like,
we could have a regular segment.
You need numbers. I tried to record a phone call that I did. When I was driving from LA to Wisconsin at the start of COVID, and everything was like apocalyptic and what's going to happen? Are the gas stations and stuff going to shut down? I saw one of these like call for answers, like 1-800-4-TRUTH or whatever billboards. I like, I've always wanted to call one of those. It's like called at the beginning of the apocalypse and just asked them, like, we had like a 2-hour long conversation. I was like, do you need to go or anything?
Oh, that would have been so cool if you taped it.
I tried to, and it just got one side. Before calling, I even downloaded 4 different apps and tried to test it and thought I found the one that worked. And no,
even though I think
luck.
that's illegal, right? I think you legally have to say you're recording something, especially if you're going to put it on YouTube.
I don't know how it works because Brendan Walsh does his fake phone calls and stuff all the time.
Oh yeah, have you heard the Nick Mullen ones too? They're incredible. He was meant to be an old man. He plays this character called Clarence Elmore, and he'll call McDonald's or Starbucks or Outback Steakhouse and just have an insane concern, but his old man voice is so convincing, and it takes him forever to get into it that they're just listening, and they're so delighted that they could help this old man. But then he's asking you he wants to be able to make his own Egg McMuffin at home because of his knees. He can't walk to the one nearby anymore. So I just wanted to know if you could help me, because I tried making one at home. I thought it was just eggs and an English muffin, but it just tasted like an egg sandwich, and I wanted to taste like an Egg McMuffin. And the corporate line can't hang up on you because you're not allowed to, I guess. So you have to stay. And he's never mean. He's an old man that's annoying to get off the phone because of his questions and the long way around asking it. So it's the perfect mix of cruelty without just being, not a Bart Simpson like prank call.
Yeah. Like really wasting someone's time for fun.
Mm-hmm. And I think Brendan occupies that space in both. It's like he can do the long form and the just immature fart boner style.
The last time, right before the apocalypse, that was well, no, I was on once remotely, but we did one with Brennan where he was like, he was telling me ahead of time. He was like, I had this idea on the way over, and he's like, no, you'll get it. You'll snap. And it's an incredible prank. He calls a wedding store. And he tells him, he's like, I went with my wife to this other wedding store and we're coming to you guys because we went through this whole thing with them. And then they said, they said that my wife sounds like a man. And they're like, that's terrible. That he just had me be his wife with my normal voice for so long. It was incredible. And he's like, you don't think my wife sounds like a woman, do you? And like, no. Or you don't think my wife sounds like a man, I meant to say. Like, of course not. Who would think that? It's just my crazy deep voice. Amazing.
Is that on world's greatest record?
Yeah. And then we did it.
Listen to that.
We started doing a live show with them, and I went and we did it at a live show. It's like the last live show that I did. Holy shit, before COVID.
Damn.
And oh man, it was he did several different things with other comic, but that bit just like brought the house down. So funny.
Some people are just touched by God. Some people just have a gift for prankage.
Maybe we'll do more cancel culture stuff, and it's just,
I was saying we should do a history of it, maybe like who was canceling 100 years ago, who was canceling in the 80s, where has it evolved to now, and is this a baton that gets tossed back and forth? How serious is it, and how much of it is just a clickbait, so it becomes the narrative of like, we got to do something about this cancellation. But I don't think
that's what the Mind Under Matter version of the topic will be, is like what has been taboo over the history of time, and like with various things that you could and could not say through time. But Cosby released, I think so, right? Isn't he out and about just running
I think
around?
So there you go.
That's insane. That's insane.
Jeffrey Epstein lives in Connecticut. Harvey Weinstein's hanging out in Italy.
Bill Cosby's released. Holy crap. That's amazing. Horrifying.
I'm interested in seeing the Kamau Bell documentary about him. It's called We Need to Talk About It or something, but it's a lot of talking heads talking about Cosby, and it seems like it would be a really in-depth one that's not angled in one way or another, which isn't like they're looking at it head on through the angle of, we grew up admiring this man so much, he was our hero, he was America's dad. What happened? And then of course that gets you to click. Well, see what they say about it.
You know what else we'll talk about in that episode is what virtue signaling actually is from an evolutionary psychology point of view, because how it's used is it's used in a way like the word meme is used now. Like if you ask most people what a meme is, they're like, oh, it's like a cat picture on the internet. Like, no, it's one of the most groundbreaking ideas of thought there's ever been. And virtue signaling is the same way in terms of how we advertise fitness and It's really interesting. And it's just that the people that know the most about it are people that happen to be like getting canceled by academia because there's rivalries between sociology and the evolution department. And so they, put out this fancy word that then people that just wanted to own the libs latched onto, and they don't really know like what the root of it is, and because it's a fascinating topic. But
new terms are such good weapons. Like finding a label, like I don't know if snowflake worked at all, but I bet it must have worked for a small time, because like, things like cuck, snowflake, virtue signal, cancel culture, it's new framings of old name calling and simplifing and othering.
Now there's
fresh,
mass formation psychosis. Robert Malone on the latest Rogan went on about mass formation psychosis. I haven't heard the episode. Sorry guys, I don't need to whack 'em all every damn conspiracy thing.
We probably have it
over and over again. But
we probably have mass formation psychosis, whatever it is, but also whoever's telling you about it, they're probably not standing outside of the Matrix either. They're probably also in the Matrix.
I get called sheeple by people that are parroting any conspiracy thing that they say. But yeah, and it's like, well, this is from the inventor of the mRNA, the inventor of science himself. It's like, well, he's also
DNA. This is the inventor of DNA. Show some respect.
He's also
yes,
not
I did
at
invent.
all. Yes, I did invent DNA.
You wouldn't be standing here, and neither would that potato you're eating.
What a character.
Did you know that you share 98% of DNA with the potato? No, that is interesting, though.
So
what
it's a new way of calling
formation...
people. It's a new way of calling people sheep. By the way, the dude's not a psychologist. At
That's
all.
True.
He's not a historian. So not only is he the inventor of mRNA, he's also a history buff, knows everything about Nazis, knows everything about hypnosis. What can't the guy do? It's pretty incredible.
Nazi is such a fun hot potato too. Just like, and what the left is doing right now, you can look at what the Nazis were doing in the 30s, and then with what Trump is doing right now, you can look at Hitler and you can literally frame by frame match up his actions. He is exactly Hitler.
Godwin's law, one of my favorite joke laws out there, which is it's an internet adage asserting that as an online discussion grows longer, regardless of topic or scope, the probability of a comparison involving Nazis or Adolf Hitler approaches 1.
It totally does.
It totally does. That's such a great description too.
Have I ever said the thing about the first, if you click on Wikipedia, if you start at any article at all and you click on the first link of the sentence describing it, it eventually ends up at philosophy. So you pick like apple. Apple is a blah, blah fruit. What is a fruit? A fruit is a product of a tree. What is the tree? It's just, eventually you get down to the molecule, the atom, the string theory. It's like, what is that? It's like, now we're in philosophy. Yeah. So it just gets to philosophy after 6 or 12 jumps. No matter what, it ends up at like, now you're just, it's just conjecture.
That's an interesting metaphor for interpreting reality itself. That's very funny, because you're just continuing to ask why questions until there's not clear answers, and it's like, well, now that's philosophy, and then slightly past that is hearsay.
But I love calling people mass formation psychosis instead of y'all be crazy. Half of everybody crazy.
It's specific to like why do all these intelligent people believe this? So these otherwise intelligent people, so then I could be like, oh wow, geez, I never really thought about it before. That's why all these smart people are sheeple and not able to see what I can so clearly see, which is through the matrix and the actual truth. Darn, poor smart people with way more training than me. So the next topic to lighten things up, Megan Mauss.
Oh yeah, MeginDeth.
MeginDeth, rock on. She says, music episode. Do you two have tips on discovering new music? Would love to hear more about your favorite bands, artists, top 5 records, etc.
Ooh, well, I'd like to begin by quoting Henry Rollins, where he said that he likes to do protein listening on the weekdays and carbohydrate listening on the weekends. Carbohydrate listening is stuff you know and love already. Protein listening is stuff you're venturing out into the waters. Maybe you'll love it, maybe it's okay, maybe you won't like it, but you're still exposing yourself to it. And
that's a fantastic quote.
Yeah. He's intense. He drinks coffee all day and is on Ritalin and I don't have any friends. I don't have a family. I don't have a girlfriend. I just like to write and drink coffee.
My friend is my huge neck.
Yeah.
and philosophical books.
Yeah, he's a weirdo. He says he doesn't even want to visit people. He doesn't want to see them, but he'll visit a town. Like, let's say he has a friend in Seattle and he'll just go by their house and like kind of see if their shadow is there through the window and just be like, yeah, they're there. It feels good for me to know that they're alive and stuff. And he's really
crazier
intensive.
than anything Mel Gibson said.
Yeah.
By a long shot.
Like when he shows up to a live event, he's like really intense and everyone's celebrating. And they're like, whoa, Henry's here. And he's like, yeah, I'm here. Let's do this. Just very serious and professional and on time, and don't waste the roadies' time. They work harder than you. You deserve their pay. They deserve your pay. They're here before you show up. They're there after you break down. Show some respect. And then does chin-ups and just always seems like he's always on to the next thing, even if the next thing is listening to new music for 40 hours.
He does a lot of like spoken word stuff too, right?
Yeah, I think that's his thing. It's not really stand-up comedy. It's like, oh, I went to Uganda and here's what I saw. And there's like a joke like a TED Talk pacing joke.
Yeah.
So yeah, spoken word. I don't know if poetry, maybe poetry too. He's a singer for Black Flag. So yeah, he probably still does poetry.
Well, that's kind of interesting. The idea of doing the more challenging listening all week, and then, oh, it's the weekend, I'm going to listen to the Beach Boys or whatever your stuff is. Because I was thinking that what drives a lot of my understanding of what drives for the average person that's not a musician, what drives a lot of their new listening, and this is why I also thought it was kind of related to the idea of cancel culture and other podcasts being inundated with it and trying to do it in a different way and blah, blah, blah. And why it's like, I'm not that interested in it. And other people got it covered.
So many other people have it covered.
It's the same with music where, so if you don't listen to music that much, if you're just listening to music on the way to work, say, you're likely to just listen to the hits. If you're just listening for a short amount of time, you turn on the radio station that you normally like or whatever. But if you listen to music like at work, if it's playing all day and you're picking the things, it's has to do with satiation. So, and hearing the same thing over and over again. So you just start branching out more and more. So usually people that have more eclectic tastes are just people that spend lots more time listening to music. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe not necessarily just music, but just media, but probably also music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't follow the weekday protein thing. I think that's too disciplined to only listen to new stuff all week. And plus, I never know what day it is anyway. So that's already out the window.
Mm-hmm.
But throughout the day, I try to throw in some new something, like Shazam something if you're out at a department store, or look at influenced by or related artists on your streaming app, like on Tidal or Apple Music or Spotify, like it'll show that, oh, who was Frank Zappa influenced by? Oh, he's influenced by Clarence Gatemouth Brown and Johnny Guitar Watson and Muddy Waters. And, oh, what are they about? Oh, okay, they were influenced by Robert Martin. God damn it, what's the Robert Johnson? Yeah. And so on, like branch out from influences, like what's the nearest thing to this thing that I already like? And before you know it, you're in a whole different country speaking Peruvian throat singing.
Those instruments are awesome. That's the one thing that I feel like I could get. You'd
be
down
great
with.
at it. You've got the natural register for it.
I was once in Australia, and I had done. This is just popping into my head, and I had done combo before. Cambo, have you heard of it?
Cambo, like the root.
It's like it's scraped off of a frog. It's not like the frog venom. It's not the 5-MeO DMT that you put in a pipe and smoke and trip. That's
called Zuko or something, right?
Yeah, I don't know. And then this is different. You scrape it off. It's like
Bufo.
meant as this wellness thing. A bufo, yes, that's it. Mm-hmm. And then burn a hole in your arm. They put a little bit into your burn, and then you get the most ill you have ever been. And if you're lucky, you puke everywhere. And because you don't want that shit in you.
And if you roll snake eyes, diarrhea, or just it's in you?
Oh, I think diarrhea too, but it's in you. And then afterwards, you're supposed to have this grand clarity and everything. And people are like, oh, wow, I just feel so much healthier and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it might be doing something, but it's also like textbook best placebo possible, because you're really doing something invasive and slightly dangerous. And it's subconsciously like, well, I wouldn't have done that to myself if it weren't doing nothing. And so I'd done it once. It was actually recorded during Psychonautics. When I did it, we just never put it in the film. My director was good at like, let's not make you look any crazier than you already do. And let's not make psychedelics look crazier than because we went to like a hand healing type thing. I'm talking about, if you're new to the show for some reason, I have a documentary called Psychonautics, a comics exploration of psychedelics, which many of you probably already know. Otherwise, it's available on Amazon Prime. But yeah, I did like light healing and all these other various things, like trying to trip off cannabis, all these things that got left on the cutting room floor. That being one of them. Well, I was in Australia. I think it was the last time I was in Sydney. A buddy of mine was like, the guy that I got my feet broke with, I should have known better than to take his advice. It was his idea to jump off this thing. I got my feet broke. And then he's like, hey, I can hook you up with my shaman to do this. Like, why am I still listening to this guy?
Or 2 years later.
Yeah. And so the guy comes to my hotel room, and he's also a comic. And he's just been getting into like the shamanic journey and stuff. He's an interesting enough dude. And so we go in my hotel bathroom, and he burns me and puts this. And what happens is you don't just vomit, you vomit bile. You vomit like colors you haven't seen before. You turn so first, your skin, your arms and stuff will just start getting all splotchy and like crazy looking. They're like, oh my God, how is this even possible that my skin could like turn actually green and get splotchy? What have I done? And then you're like having trouble breathing and your heart's racing. It's horrific. It's a horrific ordeal to go through. And then he starts like basically encouraging me to throw up in this shamanic way, which was this just amazing throat vomit music where he is just like and there was something so amazing about it that I was like, oh god. It was just the craziest. It was like if he was just passing by you on the street and made that noise, you would just vomit everywhere.
Oh, there's people with that condition with like, there's a type of condition that if you hear a gag, like you can't help but also start doing it. There's a TikTok couple that's huge on that. The husband pranks the wife by like, hey, Hillary. He's like, hey, stop it. And then just can't stop doing the vomit thing. I'm sure it's also pre-planned. Otherwise you get divorced instantly. But it seems real. The irritation sounds genuine.
I bet it's real, and it's I wish I could. Have you ever seen I think it's Little Miss Hayes?
Little Miss Sunshine? Little Women?
This lady on the internet, Lil Hayes. It's it's funny. He calls her a dancer. LILIHAYES. It's just like this 85-year-old, very, very sassy grandma of this dude that he's just constantly recording, doing stuff and like making her dress up and everything. And she's clearly annoyed a lot, but also loves him. And it's some of the funniest videos. But maybe it's just like that. It's not totally planned, but he surprises her with things. Either way, that's a horrifying way to make a living.
To relate this to music in a kind of weird way, I think a lot of social media browsing has replaced what music was in the 80s and 90s, or I might just be getting older, but it feels like there's so much that you can give your attention to that before you'd get an album and sit and listen to it. You'd get a CD and sit and listen to it. You'd make mixtapes, you'd burn CDs, the connection to the physical is lost unless you're, a vinyl file.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, that is interesting because it's also with social media. It's the same with podcasting and stuff too, where you get really into things for a while, then you go in streaks of getting into other stuff. But there's I'm like that with, I'll find something on social media and I'll love every one of their videos for a little while, and then I need a break, and then I like them again for a couple of weeks. I think that's just how the old noggin works a lot of times.
Yeah. But do you find yourself listening to music just regular style, not when you're doing dishes or exercising or driving? But do you ever just sit down and be like, I'm going to put on some tracks and see what I think of them?
Do I find myself doing what?
Do you ever just put on music and just listen to music, not as a background thing for other activities?
Oh, yeah. I mean, with rap especially, I listen to pretty intently. I have a new rapper I got into recently. It's way easier to follow. Prof, this guy Prof, he's a guy out of Minneapolis, and he's ridiculous. It's a lot of, Little Dicky. Have you? Yeah.
I think you told me about Little Dicky, or Doug Mellor did, but I learned about it at the same time in which you told me about it. Either way.
Yeah. So it's like in that, but like his music's really danceable and fun and peppy, but it's just a lot about how great his like dick game is and stuff. And he's like a very dorky looking white guy with just unlimited amounts of confidence that don't like suit him until you watch him enough, and then you're like, okay, yeah, he's just got that energy about him, and it works. And it's like, if anyone else was doing what he's doing, it would be like not okay. It would be like, pretty misogynistic and stuff like that. But he's doing it in a very like kind of satirical way to it, and he makes incredible videos. Like where he's dressed as Mr. Rogers and like rapping like very hard about guns and hoes and stuff. And that's fun. So I'll sit and listen to that. But yeah, I get into, speaking of...
How do you find him? How do you find Prof?
He would play, he's on the Rhymesayers record label. So when I'd be playing Aesop, which I still need to, like, his new album came out months ago and I still don't understand half of what he's saying, but then things start clicking, and then I'll just leave it playing. And once in a while, Prof would be one of the things that Spotify would play after an album was done.
Oh, and it led you in.
Yeah, there was, and so I'd be like half paying attention, and I'd be like, oh, that's a funny line. He has this funny, like, drinking, this thing about going to bars and stuff, and he has this one line that's, when you tell me you'll regret this in the morning, I sleep till noon, which is a fun line. And so yeah, I found him. My path with the rap was really weird because I liked Biggie when I was a teenager, and that's it. I didn't like Tupac. I liked Vanilla Ice and MC Hammer when I was like a child.
Cool, edit that out. No, I remember, fine. We all did.
I remember doing the whole Hammer Time thing when I was 6 years old or something like that. Mm-hmm. Or oh my gosh. But I didn't like music at the time. And then it's funny
that both of those one of those is Queen and David Bowie, and then the other one is Rick James. Not that they didn't add their own thing to it, but the MC Hammer beat, yeah. You Can't Touch This, that's Rick James. Super Freak. So it's they sold old beats back to, which I know sampling was just getting started maybe around that time, but that was, just blatantly rip off the sample.
Yeah. Oh, I went to, here's a fun story. When I was like 19 or 20 or something, heavy metal Vanilla Ice, have I told you this? Came through my town. So Vanilla Ice had a period of time in his career when he was trying to do heavy metal and touring, and I went to Vanilla Ice in my hometown and like brought flasks, and we all brought like flasks in and stuff in this movie theater that held maybe like 300 people or something. It was like, ice, ice, baby. It was pretty incredible. He had a big like mohawk and stuff, and was trying to do the heavy metal thing. I got on stage twice and jumped and crowd surfed nice. In like a crowd of 50 people or something like that.
You're easy to pick up, but it takes more people to pick you up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, and then I got into, and then there's a period of time where I didn't listen to any music, let alone rap. But I got into Outcast, which I really liked. And then
who doesn't love Andre and Big Boy? I feel like they're universally, I don't think they've put out that many albums, but I think they're universally good.
Yeah, I wish they'd get back together. And then I had a break from music when I started comedy. And then when I got back into it, I didn't like rap, or I wasn't in. I'd gotten into Eminem before this. And then when I left music, got back into it, never listened to rap. And then one day I was playing Pandora and it played this Lyrics Born. It's this Bay Area rapper that does funny or like really fun, peppy, upbeat music. And there's a song called Bad Dreams that's just kind of like about having a rough go at things, and it hit me like at the right time on a way to a gig, and I started like tearing up a little bit. I was like, what is that? I saved it. I started listening to a Lyrics Born station, which introduced me to Deltron 3030.
That's 2015-ish.
Yeah, and then Del the Funky Homo Sapien, and then through listening to that eventually I didn't take to Aesop Rock the first many times that I heard it. And but there was a couple, he did a song with Del that I had listened to once in a while. And I was like, who is this guy? And then changed my whole life.
Co-signing, baby. Yeah, it's amazing I would have never listened to Blank, but then, they're on show that I like, so I'll give them a shot. Oh, now I like them.
Do you have a winding path like that, distinct, that you can remember of like, and this is how I found?
Ooh, let me think about that, although that doesn't take up good airtime. None of them pop to mind at the moment. Long winding path.
When's the last time you Shazammed something and you were
at Daiso the other day? I found they were on a funk station, and there was just some tunes that sometimes I don't even care about the track that much itself, but I'll want the bass line, or it'll have a cool drum thing going on, and then I'll just cross my fingers and hope Shazam picks it up. But let's see what the last thing I was Shazammed is. It's such like 80s Minneapolis funk. Shake Your Pants by Cameo. That's the one I Shazammed. I'm like, where did this come from? Shake Your Pants by Cameo. And then I looked into Cameo, and you see it's like a funk group that you just hadn't heard of, that just blended in with the rest of the 70s, that just when you imagine a 70s funk band, like, yeah, one of those ones. The other one was an Isley Brothers tune, but it wasn't an old one. It's a new Isley Brothers, or newer one. And then from there on, like, nothing's going on for years. I forgot I had Shazam existing at all.
Yeah, I don't even think I have the Shazam app on my phone.
The worst is when it's not updated. The worst is when
you need
like,
it. Yeah. I had my last Shazam moment that I can think of was, I didn't actually use Shazam, but I remember I was at an Airbnb with a bunch of friends that I had out in Portland. We'd get an Airbnb and take little trips around Oregon. And we're in this big house. I remember we had a party, we were playing board games, and I was doing some laundry or something in the laundry room, hardly paying attention. And the song from Of Montreal, which I had never heard of, caught my ear, and it has just this amazing bass line. It's called Ground Lick Edit. It's their most
Lick Edit.
Yeah, they have all these really bizarre names for their song, like Wraith Pinned to the Mist, and We Will Commit Wolf Murder, and Lysergic Bliss. Just every one of their titles is just some bizarre thing. But I heard this bass, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then when it started, I just ran out and I was like, who is this? And they're like, Of Montreal. And then I obsessed over that for a while. And I found that for me, it's the most hit or miss band I've ever heard in my life, where I either do not care for a song or I absolutely love, like, this is some of the best music I've ever heard. And I think some of it's their newer stuff. They got a better bass guitar that's more my style. But that was an impactful one. So I went down a Of Montreal streak for a while, where that's all that I find something, and that's all that I listen to.
Like song-wise or person-wise?
Person-wise, like an artist. Like, it's like, this is like Metronomy is kind of getting, like, I'll pop some Metronomy on from time to time right now. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of them. They're a little bit like, they got like a Doors organ kind of situation, but with like peppier pop rock stuff.
That's such a distinct sound, like tied to the 70s, but also when it's made now, you're like, yeah, it still counts as now, but the main owner of it, of the electric organ synth Doors sound, is that.
Yeah. So those are some of the more recent ones that I saw Of Montreal live, and so it's a lot of their crowd. I'm always so happy for them, because it's like they seem to draw a lot of like misfits, at least in Portland where I was. But the dude's like, you know, a bisexual, cross-dressing, hyper progressive, this and that like writes like super feminist songs and stuff sometimes. But he's like the Of Montreal singer is kind of like Freddie Mercury if he was super, super dark and whiny and like so whiny, it's kind of comical. It's a lot of like mental health stuff, and every song's about like how miserable he is, but it's set against music that's really peppy. So unless you were actually listening to the words, you'd be like, this is fun. And it's like some of the darkest thoughts I've ever heard. I love that dichotomy. Aesop Rock does that, where his song's like about his cat or something, but it sounds hard as fuck.
Yeah.
But it's like super silly and cute.
No, the mismatch is a win. I was thinking Foster the People's Pumped Up Kicks. That's about a school shooter. Yes. Very upbeat, very hang out in the summertime kind of with your friends sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm interested to look at my trails now that I haven't really thought about them that much, but I'm sure my YouTube history will show me like I'm starting at this live video of the Police from 1983, and then I somehow end up at opera. Well, I don't even like opera.
Let's go back to the beginning. What was the first stuff that kind of grabbed you? What made you want to get into playing music in the first place?
Oh, I think I dreamed about playing the violin when I was 4, and my parents wanted to not make me play an instrument, but have me play an instrument anyway. And I expressed interest in it from before I really even have memory. So it just I was just playing it from really early. I got lessons and everything, and then was orchestra in high school, but then like buying my own stuff or having tapes of things, it wasn't until, ooh boy, what was that stuff? Like, you know, Green Day and Nirvana a little later, not like exactly in the early 90s, but like late 90s. I think he had already died at that point. I think I started listening to them after he had already died.
Green Day was a pretty damn big deal. What was it? Dookie?
Offspring. Offspring and Green Day.
Offspring, yeah.
And I remember also the Tragically Hip.
Come out and play. That's Offspring, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The guy has a PhD in molecular biology or something too, and he flies planes. He's one of those guys.
Interesting.
Does everything. And they always saw the band as like, no, we do the band for fun, and then money like has to come from other stuff. There's no way the band will make money, and then of course the band makes money because that's how it works out. But he's one of these like hyper interested smart guys so the guy screaming "come out and play" is also I forget what school, maybe USC or something. I don't think it's the Ivy League one, but it's nothing to shake your head at either.
Interesting.
I got into ska for a while, like Less Than Jake and a little bit of Real Big Fish and Catch 22 and Dinosaur Jr. What are they called now?
Yeah, I think
that was shortly lived. Then there's the rap phase of the Eminems and NWA's early hip hop, Tribe Called Quest, Hieroglyphics, which is Dell is in Hieroglyphics.
Eminem still got it, by the way, peeps. He's still got it. Speaking of someone that like came very close to being canceled and people would want to cancel and everything else, I mean, he just addresses that stuff quite a bit. And who knew it that Eminem would be like come out decades later being the like pretty progressive guy. The guy that made rap songs about murdering his wife or whatever now has like really progressive, like shows a lot of growth in his stuff. I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard a lot of the new stuff that he's put out, but it's pretty good.
Oh, I still need to. I remember I heard it in 98 or something. I saw him at a Warped Tour with Blink-182 and who else was there? Bad Religion. But this was 1999 where he was just there. I think he was with D12. I don't actually remember if they were there or not.
Yeah.
There was other people on stage with him, but it was...
Yeah, it might have been. It was D12 was not that good. But yeah, but he obviously stood out.
But before that, even, let's see, Bobby McFerrin and Lionel Ritchie. I remember liking them before I even could buy records because they're the ones my parents had. Like my parents had All Night Long. I'm like, yeah, this is where it's at. Lionel.
What do you find yourself?
Both of those still hold up too. Lionel Ritchie and Bobby McFerrin. Are you kidding me?
What got you into Prince?
Ooh, that's a good question. What did? So I can trace that line. Starts at Red Hot Chili Peppers, which you break that apart into Flea. Flea influenced by many people, but some of those people include Bootsy Collins to Funkadelic collaborating with Prince, or Prince being inspired by Funkadelic, writing Erotic City. He collaborated on the track Paradigm, some other stuff. And then from there, it's you're in. But I also, that was one of those ones I connected later because Prince was huge in the 80s, and You're Born and songs like 1999, Little Red Corvette, Raspberry Beret, Purple Rain, that whole soundtrack, Controversy, Dirty Mind, all that is already just in the air, but you're not putting it together that it's this one dude playing all the instruments and producing it. It's just like, no, it's just the song that came on. And where am I going to look it up anyway? The library? It's 1986. I'm not going to know where this song came from. I can only watch this amount of TV per day, and it's this channel, and I'm not watching music videos at that age. But then it was fun connecting later on after I discovered there's this guy named Prince, and he plays everything and produces everything. And then looking back like, oh, that was him. That's the Purple Rain guy also. Oh, that's the guy from For You and Dirty Mind and Controversy and all that. I would have become a Jehovah's Witness if he came to my door. But he didn't, so no. Yeah. And now he's gone, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. But Larry Graham is still alive, so I do have to worry about if he came to my door, I would also become a Jehovah's Witness.
Isn't it that they get like, what is it, a few thousand people get to go to heaven or something like that?
Something like 140,000 or something.
140,000? Nice.
Of all history, though, not just of 2021.
Yeah.
That's kind of tough, right?
Yeah, it's got to be getting down there by now. You'd think they'd have some time to keep on building on it.
Yeah. But he can, like all of us do, he contained multitudes, and I'm sure that wasn't his whole thing. Like he believed it and probably equally didn't believe it, and just was always like kind of unsure, but is playing cool. He would turn on the mystery thing. You hear people, his friends, write about it. Like the mystique thing was a thing he would turn on and off. Like he would be the silliest, jokingest guy, and then if things got serious, it would become the Mystique Prince thing. He's just gone. They're like, where did he go? Oh, he had to take off. Go, well, can I call him? No, he'll be calling you. Just you never have his phone number. You can never get a hold of him. He never owned a cell phone, even to the last day he died. Forget earlier, but he would always call you. So he was always in control. He was hyper controlling 5'3" little wizard.
I guess, did you ever hear Bill Murray had some weird way to like how to pitch him scripts? If you wanted to pitch a script,
call a 1-800 or something.
Murray, you would call a 1-800 number.
Yeah.
And describe the story.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a manager or agent. He just has one line that you call to pitch ideas.
He must get just the most insane ideas that he just has to sit there and listen to like, you know what? That just might work.
That's how the Life Aquatic happened.
Really?
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. It just sounds like it probably did.
Yeah.
He's still alive. It feels like he should be dead. Just because, you know, he's old and every celebrity has died already. And so you're like, did he die too? everyone from that era died or faded away or has too bad of arthritis to pick up a phone and make a video. Or maybe they're just enjoying gardening. Why do they need to be famous forever?
Yeah, I think he's still got it. I hope he does some more stuff because he's the I like that he's also known for like photo bombing or crashing weddings or whatever.
Stealing your French fries.
Yes.
He steals French fries and then says no one will ever believe you and then runs off. He was bartending at South by Southwest back in 2013, and anything you ordered, he would just give you tequila. I don't think he was allowed to do that. I think he just did it because he's one of those people that we let it get away from stuff. Did you ever listen to the Mark Maron episode with Keith Richards where Keith is smoking a cigarette in the NPR studios and no one can tell him no because it's Keith Richards. They don't want to tell him to put it out. And then Mark Maron hasn't smoked a cigarette in like 25 years. And then Keith Richards is pressuring him like, come on, one drag. One drag. And then Mark's like, fuck it. It's Keith Richards. Here we go. What the fuck? And he breaks his smoking chain of not smoking by 25 years. 25 years down the drain.
Then he quit afterwards.
Probably. Maybe just got back on the Nicorette gum. Who knows?
Oh my God. It's insane how fast smoking will come back. I've quit so many times and then been like, I can have one. There's like, because there is nothing really wrong with having like a cigarette a month.
Yeah, except for the fact that it's over instantly. And then you're sitting there with that craving activated.
Exactly.
Getting activated sucks.
Yeah.
I wish we could unactivate, but also have the activation option.
Yeah.
I guess I can, but.
Yeah, I can't. You're good at it. Do you know the Chili Peppers put out an album in 2016 that I thought it popped when you said that. I was like, actually, they're another one that's still got it. I was surprised. So I was never over the moon about them. I just always liked them. They were never like a favorite of mine or anything, but I was always like, yeah, this is a good album. And they did it again. 2016. They have a song called Go Robot that I very much enjoy. I like robot themed music. Great bass line. Yes. Speaking of great bass lines, that's, if you like that, you like that of Montreal Ground Lick.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, you should just play a couple seconds of it and you'll love it. But they, I forget what I was going to say.
And Chili Peppers they're, even though the last album you're saying you liked had a good track on it. Their best guitarist is now back for some new album they're going to put out. And he's never missed, but he's very in his feelings and tortured artist to a bone, and has quit twice already. He quit in the early 90s, was gone for 10 years, and then came back and then quit again in 2009, I think. So every 10 years he quits for 10 years. And now I think this is the last one because they're all old now.
Yeah. What about Flaming Lips?
Love the Lips. Yeah, I've seen the Lips many times. One of the best live shows. So many things going on. Dancing Santas, aliens, Wayne Coyne in a big ball.
Yeah.
Nowadays, probably everybody gets their own big ball.
Well, they did that for a while during COVID. Yeah. Like everyone's in a ball. Fucking amazing. That was like, if you got to be in a ball with everyone else at a ball, that's way better than just a regular Flaming Lips. Like you get that story for life. What an incredible experience. That's what we do. We just get everyone in a ball for them.
Yeah, let's do it.
Matter.
How much could a ball cost? We don't have to get the best ones. Actually, we probably shouldn't cut corners on the protection ball, but
I don't know how long COVID stays around if you just like deflate it and then set it back up the next night and have someone crawl in there if COVID sticks around on different surfaces. It's different things.
I don't even know what the new thing looks like.
Airborne aerosol thing, but yeah, that's speaking of robot themed music, Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots. Holy smokes, that album,
yeah,
does it for me. Holy crap.
Love the name.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love the name? But
so good on so many levels. With the actual song, Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robot, that song that isn't on this album. I think You Don't Like Jelly, or is that what the name of it is? Or she don't use jelly?
I don't know. One of those.
Any of these, she uses Vaseline. That was the thing that broke them out on MTV that I remember. It was like, what is that song? But then turns out that, that was like their first
I have no memory
hit.
of them of MTV. Like for them, they've always, we're talking about Flaming Lips still, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't connect them with MTV at all. I'm sure there is that, but I've never seen them on there.
It was along the same lines of like, there was a period of time when really bizarre songs would get on MTV, like the Peaches, the Millions of Peaches.
Presidents of the United States of America.
Yeah, stuff like that got real hot for a little while. And I think the Flaming Lips were in that. But that song, Do You Realize? Oof, that'll get someone teared up. I remember I played it to like the lady I was seeing, and she'd listened to the Flaming Lips, and I was like, have you ever actually listened to because I forget that I listen to lyrics way more than a lot of people do. I didn't know that until like enough people told me, that like, oh, I just like listen to the beats and stuff. Like, oh, you didn't know what they were saying in this? Holy crap. You might want to give this a listen. Like, Do You Realize is some of the best songwriting ever. Dog by Pink Floyd. Dogs by Pink Floyd is incredible.
Pink Floyd, I know because of my dad. That he was into Beatles and Pink Floyd. And
are you into Pink Floyd?
Oh yeah, but honestly, I haven't tuned back in a minute. But I went through a phase.
Yeah, I recommend if that installation is still in L.A., the Pink Floyd history thing. I recommend, it might be gone by now, but I recommend checking it out. And if you, the listener, are like, Pink Floyd, I've heard Pink Floyd before. You've probably heard their radio songs, which everyone's familiar with, like Money and stuff like that. And like, it's the things that got popular, but it's really not their best stuff. You want to start with, just look up on YouTube. So you want to watch it. It's like the best live concert ever. Which is Live at Pompeii. You've seen that, right? Or
maybe.
Have you not?
What year is that one? I probably know from the thumbnail.
I'm not sure what year it was. It was the same year as Woodstock, because it
69.
was 69. Yeah, Woodstock went out. They're like, okay, you guys are all doing this popular thing. They turned down Woodstock and they're like, we're going to go to Pompeii, where like all these people died from lava, and perform to nobody in this Coliseum.
Oh, damn.
And record it. And it's absolutely incredible.
No, I don't know this one actually. So I'm going to put this on my watch later.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you're listening and you're like, oh, I've heard the song Money, I get it. Okay. Wish You Were Here, Wish You Were Here is a fantastic song. Maybe people have heard it too much, but it is absolutely.
They even covered it after 9/11.
Oh, really?
Fred Durst did. I always just remember Fred Durst and the Goo Goo Dolls guys.
Covered it.
So you think you can tell?
No.
Heaven from hell.
Oh, no.
With the backwards, like instead of a backwards red cap, it's a backwards black cap to signify that it's dark.
Wow.
Maybe it was the red cap. Memory is unreliable.
Stop that. Holy crap, that is awful. One thing you might be really interested in with Pink Floyd is to, if you listen back to the discography, I can't talk all of a sudden. Where is this? The Endless River, Pulse. What you want to do is go to, so before they got real big, so Animals is my favorite album. It's based off of Animal Farm. Super good. But if you want to listen to Metal, because it was before they started using synthesizers, but they were trying to make synthesizer like sounds with their instruments, like when synthesizers came, it just allowed them to play what they were already trying to play. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty interesting to listen to that evolution. So, and it has Echoes, which is one of my favorite Pink Floyd songs on there. So Meddle, Meddle, highly recommend that because everyone's already heard The Wall and Dark Side of the Moon, which The Wall is pretty great when you're a teenager and stoned, and it's like, yes, this is what society is. Oh my God. Yeah. But there's more to Pink Floyd than that.
Yeah, it's always important to not judge by the first 3-4 songs, especially if they're singles and you've heard them in a commercial or something. You don't know what you're really missing out on. So yeah, that's another good tip. Instead of just seeking related artists to the ones you already like, try diving even deeper to the ones you like already. Like, do you really know the whole catalog already? Mm-hmm. Or are you just trying to just get around too fast?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really interesting listening to people's evolution too. I did that with Aesop recently, where I hadn't listened to much of his old stuff and just did recent. And it's interesting because he's one of the few people that has gotten better and almost every single album. Very few people do that. Usually they have like 1 or 2 albums and then fizzle.
Yeah. How many does he have? 30?
Maybe not 30. He had a break where he was going through some mental health things and didn't put stuff out for a while, and then he just exploded with like his best stuff. It was when he started making his own music. He did a collaboration with Kimya Dawson, which people know from the soundtrack of Juno. And what's interesting is she's a black lady who sounds white, and he's a white dude that sounds black. And their voices are like really interesting paired together. And he sounds really hard, and she sounds like a little girl, even though she's like 45 or whatever. And
Freaky Friday.
And they have they make beautiful
babies,
like mental health music. They have this song it's called The Uncluded is their album. Listen to this story. This is a true story. I looked it up because I was like, is that? No way. What happened was Aesop, he was at a friend's house when he was young watching TV with a bunch of friends, and there was a news report of a plane crash on the TV, and they all stopped to watch it for a second. And then it was revealed there was like one of the guys in the room was like, hey, my mom was on a flight that was going. It was revealed his mom was on that flight that crashed. And they all found out right then that dude's watching TV died in a fucking plane crash as they're just flipping through the channels.
Before they even ID the body, probably.
Yeah. And he has a brilliant rap about it. And then there's one called Teleprompters that made me bawl the first time that I heard. I was just in a place where I was like, I needed a cry so bad, and it finally broke me. So yeah.
It added one more straw to the camel's back.
Just added that last little straw. But Yeah,
But I'll give it more
go
credit
on
than
and on
that.
about
It's a pack
Aesop.
of straws.
It is a pack of straws to the camel's back. What have you been into lately? Are you obsessed with anything at the moment?
No, maybe. Let's
No
see. I don't
obsessions?
think I am. I was checking out the Police again pretty recently. Like all those guys. Who doesn't love Sting and Stuart Copeland and Andy Summers and Derek Chauvin? How do you not love the Police?
I need to listen to more, to be honest, because they're one of those bands where it's like, I bet I know more of their songs and just didn't know it was the Police, you know?
Yeah,
like,
it's
I'm like,
very,
oh, I love that song. I just didn't know. I always like that with Creedence Clearwater for a little while, like when I was younger, where I was like, wait, who? They have all of these songs that I like?
Yeah.
Like I had already liked all of the songs and didn't connect that it was the same band.
Yeah, that's always good when it completes the parts, I don't know, that you're already holding on to. It's like you're not learning anything new other than they're connected. And there's something, I don't know, it's inspiring in a way. You're like, oh, we have so much more potential than we thought. There's not just one good thing in each of us. It could be unlimited good things in different directions from all of us. But, the Police, the Talking Heads, I feel like those were good parts of the new wave 80s. And there's so much like garbage in the new waves. Like, we are robots and we are in the future, like whatever the cartoon version of new wave turns out to be. Not that I've ever, I don't know if Devo counts as that. I haven't actually gotten into Devo, so they could be very cool.
I actually heard from someone whose taste that I trust, they're like, you have to listen to Devo. Like, I know you know the one radio song or whatever, but you have to listen to Devo. They're amazing.
Oh, I bet they're very proggy. I bet there's lots of very complicated stuff going there. It's not just about the red bucket hats. But I went through a jazz phase like about a year ago where I got really into Coletrane and Ornette Coleman and Miles and going back to Dizzy and Charlie Parker and just and especially Charles Mingus, who I mentioned on the last episode, the upright bass player who was the angry man of jazz.
The angry man
guy. Yeah.
An angry upright bass player.
Yeah.
Because you kind of got to have patience to play an upright bass too.
But he was just huge and just had an attitude.
That's funny.
Yeah. But with that stuff, I had trouble listening to it in the background because there's too much going on and you want to tune into it. So it was tough to hear it in the background.
Do you have any bands that you love that you hated some of their early stuff? Like of Montreal, like I can't stand their first 4 albums or something. And then something just switched. Pink Floyd, I don't care for like their first couple albums when they had Syd Barrett. They're fine, but they're like nothing compared to after Syd Barrett left. Any off the top of your head?
Good question. None off the top of my head. Ones that start, because it's often the other thing. It starts good, goes bad.
All right, give me an example of that. Starts good, goes bad.
Starts good, goes bad. See, now I'm put in a hold here.
I'll do one.
Okay, yeah, you do one.
Avett Brothers.
Not that familiar.
So I'm not super familiar with anything that they've done recently, but I just know that their first 2 albums were some of the coolest, like most raw, interesting bluegrass. Like I was like, this is almost like a raw Nirvana of bluegrass kind of feel to it, and so gritty but also like fun and interesting, and then you could tell by the 3rd album that they were just starting to get like a little too polished.
They figured out the formula.
Yeah. And then after that, then they just went totally, they got like insanely popular and turned into pop music, at least in my little experience with hearing any of their modern stuff, but their first two albums are just phenomenal. And I'm not someone that's huge into that style. Although bluegrass is nice because it's like I could just put on a random bluegrass and I would enjoy it, but there's not a bluegrass band that
it doesn't stick with you.
That.
Yeah. Something about it. I don't know if it's that it's too complicated or it's too similar or it already has a vibe attached to it. Like you're already in the swamp country and you're chasing after a womp rat and it's like.
It's also kind of like casual at the same time. So maybe that's why it doesn't like make an impact. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, nothing, I can't think of anything that sucks, but like there'll be a decline. Like I won't really care about what Rancid is up to. The new Bad Religion record, I don't really care. The new No Doubt record, I don't really care. The new AFI records, I don't care. Perhaps people love them, but those are ones that I liked a lot, and then I just stopped caring about them.
Yeah,
Did you ever like those ones?
She's making like Christmas music and shit now.
Oh
like
yeah, she's killing it. She's like Martha Stewart or something now. Like a music Martha Stewart. Not in the age way, but in the
it's
like
so
just
funny
success.
because she was so like her and Gavin or whatever with Bush. That's a one hit. That whole Bush album was phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
and then
Bush.
Did they just like not make anything ever again? I don't even know what happened there.
It's exhausting, probably the whole touring and being a actual performing musician and stuff, and then getting older and your shoulder doesn't work or anything. I totally get why people stop forever.
What's here's one popped into my head. I was trying to think of music that I don't like, genres that I don't like, and I was thinking like, well, I never find myself. What's that?
Hick hop. Have you heard that? It's like hick redneck hip hop.
Interesting.
Or hick hop.
Well,
that's an easy one to not like.
I feel a little old for, sorry to say this, MeginDeth, but I feel a little old for heavy metal type stuff, but it did just pop into my head how much I enjoyed Nine Inch Nails for a good number of years of my life. I was really into Trent Reznor making all the music and everything for it.
Who doesn't love Trent?
That. Yeah.
He predates Marilyn Manson. I think Marilyn Manson was, I mean, now he's a disgrace.
He made Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he also did the soundtrack for Soul. John Batiste did the stuff that's on Earth, and Trent Reznor did the stuff in the Ethereal Heavenland, I think.
Really?
Or it was someone else, but I'm pretty sure it was Trent Reznor. But if it wasn't, it was definitely someone else did it.
I think he did the soundtrack for Lost Highway as well. Have you seen Lost Highway?
Mm-mm.
Whew. It's a very bizarre film. No, it's older. It's a cult following kind of super bizarre movie. I love it. I've seen it a bunch of times, and it's like no one really knows what's going on exactly, but it's let's see. Oh, it has that guy that killed his wife for real in it.
William Shatner? Allegedly.
What? Is that a rumor about William Shatner, or are you just joking?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you look at it, it really seems like he did it allegedly. LegalZoom is not a law firm. I did not say anything.
Really?
I mean, just look up YouTube's yourself. Yeah. If you ever feel like doing a little hobby investigation, then it's a fun little thing to ponder. But also, that is a serious claim, and I am joking because sometimes the circumstances of your wife or husband's death do look very suspicious, and you can place motivations on the person. But also, that's a huge thing to do to accuse someone of murder. But that being said, come on, it's funny to accuse, and when it looks I know people accuse Patton Oswalt of poisoning his wife. That one I don't see that one as true.
That's insane.
Like you think he has a daughter and you think he poisoned his wife with Xanax, which she already
rumor.
Yeah. And they say it because he got married the same year, but people can meet other people and move on while not moving on. Like you're not over your wife's death, but it doesn't mean you have to be a single bachelor sleeping in a race car every night.
Right.
In a bed shaped like a race car.
Your wife dies and you have to sleep in a race car bed by law.
What's that on The Simpsons? Like, oh, I sleep in a race car. Oh, do you sleep in a race car? I sleep in a big bed with my wife. Oh.
So Lost Highway is a David Lynch film. Has Patricia Arquette is phenomenal in it. Bill Pullman's good. It's really weird. It's very creepy, and it's shot really interestingly. And Robert Blake is the guy who like definitely killed his wife, but I think was like didn't get charged for it somehow. He was like, someone else must have taken my gun that was in the car and shot her when I was in the store. Like it shot her. And it was whatever his excuse was bonkers.
Yeah. This somehow became about killing your spouse episode.
Yeah. He's, oh my goodness. He's 88 years old. Still kicking. Robert Blake, super creepy dude, and he plays the creepiest character ever in the movie Lost Highway, which I recommend. I think Trent Reznor did the soundtrack. Do you have any music that you hate?
Oh, see, I stay away from stuff that I hate. I don't go to it. Let's see, what's something that I know?
If it comes on, if someone has
the Google Fi advertisement song, like who doesn't hate that? Mainly it's commercials. You hate music they put in commercials, but I'm never like walking in a grocery store like, oh, I hate Adele. It's more like I'm neutral. And oftentimes pop songs that a lot of people hate, I like still see the good in it. I know why it's good. And there is actually a lot of good like pop music now. Not all of it, but I find like there's a lot of stuff that's on the top 40 that's like, oh, that actually slaps. That's a banger. That's lit. That's fire.
You know what made me realize that? Have you ever heard of Postmodern Jukebox?
Post Malone Modern Jukebox? No.
Postmodern Jukebox does covers, vintage covers, so they're especially good. I recommend them I like things that back when I had a place, I liked things that I could put on a TV and have that were like nice background stuff when you have people over that are kind of fun to look up at, but you don't need to. Like Live at Pompeii is good like that, and so is Postmodern Jukebox. They have fantastic YouTube videos where they all dress up like 50s classy. I said it before, but I forget like vintage. It's all vintage covers of like Taylor Swift, or like they have a good vintage cover of Stacy's mom.
As though it was made in the 50s or 60s.
Yeah. And it's super fun. And from that, like I realized like, sometimes you do need to shake it off. Taylor Swift was right. Like I'll just hear certain things. I'm like, oh, those are very good lyrics.
Sometimes you do have to whip, and other times you have to nay. It's not just about the whip, and people need to watch you whip, and they need to watch you nay.
Do we have an encore in us, or was this is a full episode? Do you have anything else?
We could go on forever listing people that we like and things. I'm trying to think of ones that I like to go all around. I'm not tied to any one era if I did look at my statistics, though, maybe I do fall into a certain decade. But
I got something for you. What's a band that you like introducing to people that and
I like showing people Nowhere.
Nowhere?
I like showing people Nowhere. I like showing people just as though you know something, like knowledge.
Oh, I see. Okay.
They're very fun to just on YouTube. Prince already said I like introducing people to Prince if they don't know that already. Zappa is a tough one to introduce people because I don't know where to start and I don't know if they'll get it. And just because I like introducing people to it doesn't mean it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. They're like, yeah, I didn't get that. I'm like, still loved introducing you.
Yeah,
you should meet Vulfpeck. You should meet Dua Lipa. You should meet Weather Report. Oh, I love showing people Weather Report. Now I'm just saying stuff I like. It's like the introducing part is weird. I don't know any of these. It so depends on the person though. Like some people I would introduce, like if I'm talking to Drennan or something, I would go farther out into the ocean for sounds than I would the average person. Mono Neon. I like to show people Mono Neon. Perhaps you've seen his videos.
I have not. Mono Neon?
He takes, I don't know if he still does this. Maybe he's gotten into the more serious space while still being goofy, but he would take samples of videos and play bass lines over them.
I just saw a guy on Instagram I followed the other day who does video game music, just riffs video game music with like guitars and stuff like that.
Yeah, Mono Neon is that realm.
Okay.
But he also has real records and stuff. But I don't know. That's the crazy thing about music. It's more even, there's more variety than food, you could argue.
Yeah. I would sometimes, before Stand Up Science, I would sometimes play OK Go videos to get the audience in a good mood. You're familiar, right?
That's familiar, but I don't have it saved here.
They have like just imagine every one of their videos is like, one of those giant domino things that goes around and is set up. It's like a real size domino thing, but way more interesting than that. Like Steven Pinker, in one of his neuroscience classes, uses one of their videos as homework to identify different optical illusions that they're exploiting in the video to get the effects. They're brilliant in terms of their videos. Their music's pretty good too, but I don't find myself ever just putting on OK Go to listen to, but their videos are definitely the best music videos like ever made in terms of their, if you just want something like super fun and amusing that anyone, like I'd show my parents, you could show a little kid, they'd be blown away. That Super Bowl commercial way back when, it had the car that drove through the track of pianos and guitars and stuff like that.
No, I missed that one. I missed that.
For Toyota, they just put a giant bar outside their car, and then they had just hundreds of guitars on a fence at different heights. They drive by and it plays a whole song as they're singing, and it's absolutely amazing. Their videos are, go on an OK Go video kick if you never have before, because you will love every bit of it.
Nice.
So that's a good grand finale to leave you guys with. Sorry,
let us know what we missed. Did we not get heavy enough? Did we not explore classical enough? Did we not explore blah 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 enough? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, if you guys know any music that we didn't mention, if there's any music out there that we didn't mention at all, put in the comment section on YouTube. That actually is a really good idea, to comment on YouTube. But even if you listen to this on Spotify, which, by the way, Spotify has ratings now. So if you're on Spotify, please rate this podcast. And additionally, you can go to YouTube and get in the conversation and recommend your favorite music to other mummies out there, because I bet you all have good tastes. There's a music section on the Discord, and I find new music that people suggest and stuff from there. Everyone has awesome tastes on there. And if you want to go to the Patreon, by the way, even if you like, I can't afford to support you on Patreon, just send me a message and I'll give you a Discord link if you want to check out our small, tiny little community. There's not tons of activity on there, but there's a small, I don't know how to market every damn thing in the world, nor do I want to, but it's awesome. And it has like little channels. There's no trolls. So there's like, say, a pandemic section. So if you want to talk about the pandemic, you can. If you don't want to hear about the pandemic, you just never go to that channel. Same with music or movies or Mind Under Matter stuff. Discord's kind of cool that way. And there's a bunch of cool people on it. And if you want to check out Patreon and you don't have money, there's free episodes, including the second part, as we mentioned, the second part of the worker placement, where we get assigned our careers. If this podcast doesn't work out because you haven't provided us enough support on Patreon, you get to find out what job we'll do next. And so you can go there and you can see a free public post. You can watch the whole episode. How we do it is we have on there, we'll make a post that you either download the audio thing of, and then another post where it has an unlisted YouTube video that no one can find publicly. But hint, hint, if you like this show so much and there's a bonus episode that you really, really love, or a Mind Under Art that we dedicated to you, you could share that with your friends. Just don't post it on social media or whatever, but you have an unlisted YouTube link that there's no way for us to regulate once you've found it. So exploit that if you like, and it helps spread the word too. And thank you guys so much for your support. Until next time,
keep on salivating. Is this regular or Patreon?
This is a regular one.
Oh,
these
shit.
are
Well, keep on salivating, honeys.
This is one of the that was your energy was real rough on that one.
Okay, one more time from the top.
Why don't you lead me into it this time? Let me take a whack at it.
Okay. That's all for today. Until next time.
Keep on salivating, honeys. That was almost too much like a priest on a billboard kind of creepy energy. I came full circle. That was a little too much of a happy, like, hey, keep on salivating. All right, honeys, have a good one.